Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is July 19th, 2017. How many of you, raise your hand, love it when we bring you segments from The View? It's really hard for me to get through. However, I gotta tell you, like, I grew up watching Whoopi Goldberg on, like, Sister Act and Sister Act 2, and we can sing all the songs, and so it's really hard for me to see her in this brain dead context. But we're going to go ahead and let her start off.
Well, I want to explain it first because Caitlin Johnstone, our favorite liberal lefty who has been tweeting out our stuff. Progressive. You're right. She's really not lefty. And I don't even think she's liberal. I don't know what you call yourselves. You have to forgive me. I really don't know. She's just...
We love y'all. We love y'all. That's all we got.
Them people who are awesome.
Yeah.
But they don't think exactly like we do on certain social things.
Right.
Okay, but anyways, they're awesome people. So, Caitlin, she hits people with really eye-popping titles. And so she wrote an article about John McCain because he had a blood clot and they postponed the vote for the Obamacare and things like that. And, you know, we may not agree totally on, like, healthcare, but one thing we can agree on is the essence of her article. And the title of the article was, "Please, John McCain, please just effing die already." Now, you can tell when things are tongue-in-cheek.
Right.
She fleshes out her article. She even wrote a re-fleshed out article explaining all of the war crimes of John McCain, the people that he has died, he collaborated, that he has killed. This is why we have two people.
Thank you, Nancy Pelosi.
See,
you can be
Nancy
Nancy and I'll be Maxine.
Nancy needs a sister.
Yeah.
That's all she needs.
Yep.
Okay?
It's okay, I'll be Maxine.
That's awesome. I'm not doing any speeches without her right there. And
right.
She's not doing it without me there.
Yeah, no, because I do a lot of mess ups.
So we can look at okay. He is killed, dead.
Killed him dead.
Killed him dead.
Yep.
Like, oh, John Wayne movie. Anyways, so he works with the White Helmets.
Right.
He was behind all of the overthrown governments, the Iraq, he's in Syria right now, Libya,
he is
Afghanistan.
He is a neocon.
Messing up with Somalia. Yeah. So here's the thing. So the sentiment is you have messed up enough people's lives. What is it, like 500,000 children in Iraq, 1 million people in Iraq are dead, or you are responsible for these deaths.
Right.
You are guilty of treason. They keep calling Trump guilty of treason.
One thing that they don't actually cover here, which I thought would be really important while they were calling this out, is to talk about what happened with Kathy Griffin holding Trump's head. If you want to compare things, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could compare the severity of Caitlin just saying, you know what, please just effing die already, and Kathy Griffin holding up a bloody head of the President of the United States. Now, Caitlin, I'm going to be honest. If you had held up a bloody head of John McCain, I probably wouldn't be standing here in your defense. But that wasn't at all what Caitlin did. She just said, will you please just die already?
We say that about Hillary Clinton.
If anybody wants to come out and say, Donald Trump, please just die already, fine, whatever. That's your prerogative. I may not agree with you, but it's a thing.
It's a sentiment. Just could you just... And it's
not saying I'm going to kill you. It's not saying I'm going to kill you in this manner, meaning cutting off your head, or I would like to see you die. You know what I'm saying? Like in some sort of grotesque. Although she was a little bit descriptive in her death thing, which I thought was...
I thought it was hilarious. But here's the thing. You know you're on the right side of history, Caitlin, when all the women in The View say that you aren't.
Right.
So you're on the right. So here's this is a litmus test. It's kind of like taking like a Lyme disease test or something. You know you've got it, or you know you don't have the disease, right? These women have the syphilis. So if they are disagreeing with you, then you don't have the syphilis.
You don't have the syphilis,
or whatever.
Let's listen to the syphilis sisters.
This bill has been born and died and born and died and born and died. But it's dead again. And the new guy's been all over Twitter calling to repeal it. That's right. Repeal it. Replace it right now. Or replace it later. But the most disturbing thing about all of this is it's gotten very hateful. like Nevada Republican official.
I'm sure.
Aura.
Because she's a Republican.
Right.
An article calling
It's gotten
for
hateful.
Senator John
There's
McCain to
Caitlin.
just die.
They're standing up for John McCain. He is not a Republican.
She included, and now she has apologized because, of course, people went, "What the hell?" But I mean, come on now. This is a little out of
really have much to
control.
say
here.
She said,
Look how
My apologies. Today's retweet was disrespectful. Senator McCain is an American hero. I don't wish anyone harm. But it was a little confusing because she did say she was agreeing with the sentiments of the article, but the article said, and I quote,
Yes.
I sincerely, genuinely hope that Arizona Senator John McCain's heart stops beating and that he is subsequently declared dead by a qualified medical professional very soon.
Yes.
That's not very vague.
Well, it's not vague, and that's why I'm like, what? Listen, you're supposed to be. This is somebody in your own party. You gotta go. They gotta replace you. That's ridiculous.
Who was a war hero, also, by the way.
Who wrote it in the first place is a Bernie Sanders.
He was a war hero,
person.
by the way.
She's a lefty.
Why don't you just go straight to death threats?
I'm just saying that both sides in this
Well,
case.
but everybody's got to, you know, but the bottom
They don't have
line
anywhere to
is
go
like,
from there.
what is going on here? What is going on?
You guys have incited this
about the
sort of
de-evolution of our
That's it. That's all I can handle of their
all right,
their
so
supposed piety.
Here's the thing. They are constantly
Their
calling
moral
for violence.
ground.
They have no leg to stand on.
I am so sure that Whoopi has called for Donald Trump to be dead.
Yes.
But
you could tell that she was kind of like skating on thin ice a little bit as she was kind of stepping out. Like, I don't want to say anything that anybody's going to be able to come back and say somehow I'm a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite. Big fat hypocrite.
But, you know, they're really standing up for John McCain here, so you can tell exactly what this was all about.
Right.
We're going now to the Washington...
one thing, though, Whoopi, it was this is somebody of your own party. Honey, Whoopi, John McCain is a rhino. And if you don't know what that acronym means, it's Republican in name only. So he's actually not really a member of the Republican Party, just so you know.
So, and then to top it all off, she was written up in the Washington Post.
Well done!
An article called for John McCain to just die already. A GOP official responded, amen. But the writer has made it clear that she wasn't kidding. And so, that was Caitlin Johnstone.
I love the chutzpah of Caitlin. She really doesn't pull any punches, and she doesn't back down.
So, I'm not sure. Should we continue with this one?
Just keep going.
Because this is going to get kind of long.
That's okay.
So, with all of this, Caitlin is getting a lot of attention, which I'm really happy about.
Me too.
But it's all negative attention, but it's kind of like the Milo effect.
Yes.
Where any publicity is good publicity because, and here's the thing about Milo, when you actually sit down and read his writings or you listen to him full from front to back,
you can't refute a single thing.
Right, exactly. And you may disagree with it.
Right.
But with Caitlin and her writings, you can disagree or not appreciate the way she says things, how she is so colorful in her language. Let's put it that way.
Maybe a little bit.
But it's funny. And we need funny.
I wish she did more videos because Caitlin, why don't you take your articles and read them and post them on YouTube?
That'd be so
because you're incredibly disarming with your adorable Australian accent. Right. I think she might be afraid that she'll come out as not as hard of a hitter because she just sounds so awesome.
Right.
You know, she won't come out as such a bully.
Very soft-spoken.
Yeah, but the words really pack a punch.
Right. So,
and she's beautiful to boot, and they wouldn't like that.
So, Counterpunch, speaking of Punch, has written 2 articles against Caitlin and against, I think his name is David Cobb of the Green Party, saying that he's been co-opted, talking about the right-left collaboration.
Which they don't like.
Right, they hate it, absolutely hate it.
Because they know that it'll take them down.
So I shared that Counterpunch article, but I was told not to the Green Party marks in a media con job, and there's more to this. It's pretty sad. But anyways, it goes on. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's this one, but yeah, this is this one, where if you look at this one where they're ripping Caitlyn to shreds, and you click on this little link.
Let me point. Okay, here's it is. Where she attempts to pass herself off as a progressive, anti-establishment journalist on the left by critiquing liberals, imperialism, Antifa, the Democratic Party, Marxists, the deep state, and corporate media, as well as by promoting racists in her most recent piece, openly calling for cooperation with fascists, i.e. a red-brown alliance. Now, you can click on the promoting racists, which actually had an underline, but Leah was covering it, so it wasn't coming up. Now, here's the promoting racist piece that we're going to bring up to you. This is the article that we showed Caitlyn writing about joining hands with the right.
Do you like those racists behind you?
These are the racists.
Those are the racists.
Do they look familiar to you? Because the last time I checked, I'm the most racist person I've ever met. Pretty much, yeah. I hate all races but my own. I'm a white supremacist, alt-right. Yeah, I just get, huh? This has got to be, and unfortunately, this is journalism at its worst. Because if you did any bit of research on Resistance Chicks, you would find that we are the least racist people, I think, on YouTube as far as racism goes. I think sometimes they may confuse us calling out radical Islamic terror for racism, but there again, you might need to go back to school and discover the difference between racism and calling out radical Islamic terror, because Islam isn't a race.
So Victor from Revolt Against Plutocracy did an interview with David Cobb talking about the hit piece that Counterpunch has done, and a lot of you won't even know who Counterpunch is because you don't read those, but some of you might. I hadn't before. And you probably don't know who Victor is. Victor interviewed us as a right-left collaboration. But anyways, he wanted our take before he interviewed David Cobb about this, because they smeared both Caitlyn and David for trying to get together and work together. And I said, hey, Victor, what a nasty smear piece, huh? I don't know how Caitlyn keeps her head above the water, but she is one tough cookie.
Yes.
I enjoy reading her articles. If I had to comment on this, I would tell the author of the negative article, you, sir, are missing out on all the fun. Yeah. The fun of getting to know people who see the world a bit differently, but ultimately have the same goals. What Caitlyn says about being able to hash out our differences once we actually have a fair and balanced system is so true. Right now, we are all just pawns, and unfortunately, the author is playing his part as pawn spewing nasty hatred and biased views. This kind of rhetoric goes nowhere but making an enemy out of at least 50% of the American population. Calling all Trump supporters the new litany of names seems to be the only talking point of the Clinton-Obama mainstream media.
All they have.
As you know, we didn't even vote for Trump, but we support him as president. There's not a racist bone in our bodies, and if the author took off his bigot glasses for a minute, he'd see that there are people like my sister and I who actually bring the evil truth behind capitalism to the forefront. I'm sorry for the attack on Katie. She seems to be handling it like a champ. Please pass on the word to Mr. Cobb that there are Christian right-leaning people who love this planet and who speak out against GMOs, promote organic, sustainable living, and it's better if we cross party lines on issues rather than demonize everyone. We have had some spirited conversations on our Facebook with Johnstone's crowd, and the word I keep hearing is there is more that unites us than divides us. Now, I actually watched the interview between David Cobb and Victor, and I'll play a second here.
The next question will be their criticism towards you. Their criticism was she's advocating that the left and the right should work together, specifically exposing, criticizing, and deconstructing the deep state. And she names a particular person, this Chernovich, that she specifically retweets and reposts this material and collaborates with online. And that's the person she got a lot of heat for citing as someone to collaborate with for the purpose of deconstructing the deep state. So my first question to you is: do you think it's fair by those two critics of her to be advocating this kind of left-right collaboration? Something Ralph Nader has been advocating. He wrote a whole book about left-wing, right-wing collaboration along specific issues. And as you know from our work when I was on the Amendment Gazette with Paul Westlake, we advocated for left-wing, right-wing collaboration for an amendment to the Constitution to overturn Citizens United. So she's not doing anything innovative or new when she does this. So address their concerns about to her calling for collaboration with what they call fascists, sexists, and bigots.
So, Victor, I mean, there's a lot there. I want to start off by saying that people can have disagreements. I don't have any problem with disagreements. Litvin, Frank, and anybody else can offer critique of me at any time. I recognize that I am a public figure. I do think it's interesting that Caitlin and I both created a joint response and submitted it to Counterpunch. They have so far, a week later, refused to respond, and so far Joshua Frank has written me back on Facebook anyway and said David Cobb is important enough to criticize but not important enough to publish.
Very interesting there. When you get into the litany of just name calling people,
right,
and not recognizing people as individuals but lumping people together, that is what racism is.
Yeah.
So when a black man walks down the street with a gun and breaks into the corner store,
right,
and you see several black men do this, then you say all black men break into buildings.
That's incredibly
and steal
racist.
Things. That is racist. So when you hear, and I do see, you know, some racists online, they've come out. I've seen a ton of anti-Semitic. I've seen incredible anti-Semitics on the left. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to say the left are all anti-Semitic. Okay? When you put groups of people into a box, you leave very little room for yourself to actually reach them.
Yeah.
And of course you can say these particular people are my enemy. It's better to, and what I try to say when we talk about left-right collaboration, what I always tell people is you stick with what you are passionate about. Yeah. And Cynthia McKinney says this, and you meet together. Why can't we play the game where, okay, what's your favorite color? Okay, yours is pink, mine is blue. We're going to go our separate ways.
Right.
You know, what's your favorite sport? Mine is tennis. Yours is tennis. Oh, we're together. Let's work on this.
Right.
Now, David Cobb goes on in this interview and says that politically he thinks it's impossible for
he was saying pretty much from the voter box, it is impossible for us to collaborate. And on that front, I actually have to agree with you.
As the voter box is seen today.
Exactly.
I don't believe that it should stay this way, because the essence of our representatives is that they get together and they talk about things, but there's no partisan value to topics. You know, what do you think? What do your constituents in this area think about water, clean water in this area?
Right.
And then different people all vote on it, but you don't need. Our founding fathers hated parties, despised the two-party system, wanted multiple parties, wanted multiple groups of people to have multiple voices, and then to be able to vote on an issue not with, well, the Democrats say I can't vote on this one with you Republicans because, you know, I gotta vote party line.
Okay, I want to equate it to this, and maybe you guys might find this childish, but it's what just popped into my head literally just now. What I feel like the right-left, that's the best thing we can call it, collaboration would look like is a divorced couple raising a child. And you could be like some of these people and say, it's absolutely impossible. I am going to have to leave my child and can't be in their life if I have to work with their mother. I just can't do it. I will give up my child altogether because I can't deal with this woman, she's crazy. Same thing with the wife or whatever. You can't do that, okay? Because the life of the child is paramount to how you feel about each other no matter what. I don't care if, you know, the wife cheated or the husband cheated or whatever. You have to work together so that you can raise this child to be a upstanding citizen. So what we have right now is we have the lifeblood of our country at stake here. And we have the right and we have the left, and we have people from both sides saying, I absolutely cannot join together with you because you are anti-abortion, or because you are pro-life, or because you are anti-immigration, or because you are pro-immigration. Listen, we have to throw all of those things out of the window. If the house is burning, we all have to get together and throw buckets of water on it. If the ship is sinking, we all have to get together and throw the buckets out. You can't just say, I'm not going to get in line and pass this bucket of water to throw out the fire because I have to stand next to this other guy.
Michelle doesn't mean to actually throw those things out the window. What it means is, and this is what I keep trying to explain to people, and you know what? It's organic and it just will happen. You don't even have to make it happen.
Right.
Okay, Caitlin's articles are to get people thinking and to recognize that it is happening, but it's all going to be issue-based. It's all going to be on the areas where you have been red-pilled and I have been red-pilled, and then we keep going deeper and we keep sharing information.
Right.
And then we collaborate on individual issues, because the last thing I want you to do, if you are passionate and convicted about something and something is incredibly important to you,
you shouldn't be stifled.
It's for you to say, well, if I'm going to work with the right, I'm going to have, this isn't going to be important to me. No. Babies dying in the womb for me is always going to be paramount. I am always going to talk about abortion. I'm always going to talk about birth control. But I'm not going to let it hold me back from working with somebody on vaccines or GMOs or other things, because they don't see it the way I see it.
Exactly.
Okay? And it may be that if you work with people on these specific issues, then you can talk and you can begin to see other people's points of view. Because here's the thing. If you love people and if you love God, we can come to an understanding when it comes to even the most divisive issue.
Yep.
But I really don't want people to throw things to the side. We've joked about having a picnic with, you know, the lefties and things like that, or a parade or something. And what I would love to do, I think it would be hilarious, if everybody brought signs on the issues, the specific issues they thought were important. And
as long as they were peaceful.
And we had anti-immigration signs, and we had abortion signs, and we had pro-life signs, and we had anti-Muslim signs, and we had pro-Muslim signs, and we had all these different signs. And the main signs that we had were mainstream media, you won't control us, we are going to be
anti-deep state, anti-Federal Reserve, those sorts of things where we can come together to let people know, look, we're joining hands across the aisle, and you guys can't make enemies of us. What you don't realize is the incredible hatred that you have towards the other party based on issues is contrived and fueled by the very people that you hate. The mainstream media and stuff.
So the idea is that the Republicans are pro-life and the Democrats are pro-choice, and you're not allowed to work together whatsoever on anything.
Right.
And you can tell the people that you can't work with are the people that push you out when you want to work with them.
Exactly.
So like when Abby Johnson shows up and the pro-life women want to show up and walk in the Women's March, and they're not allowed to because they're pro-life, and that this entire march of millions of women,
which is supposed to be for women,
was pushing an agenda, when you see that is the deep state.
Right.
So they're the enemy.
Exactly.
So you have recognized the enemy. The enemy pushes people out who are ready and willing to join in.
Right.
So Cernovich, he's a little bit off here and there sometimes. My mom doesn't really like his personality, but I like him. It's a different, I like him. And he tweeted out Caitlin Johnstone's work. But then you got some people on the left where he's the alt-right and he's the this, and why would you even talk to him, and why would you even work with him? It's insane, because you have to be able to use common sense.
Right.
and work with people. I mean, even Cynthia McKinney said she went, and this is right here. She went into and worked with and had to win the votes of the KKK members.
Wow.
She had to win their votes, and she says she did. Okay, so this author, Stuart Davis, has done us all a great service refuting this Counterpunch article about Caitlyn. And he quotes her saying, "You can trust yourself to know who to collaborate with and in what areas. This notion that you cannot safely collaborate with the right is based on the false premise that you're all too stupid and inept to make distinctions." Caitlyn Johnstone. And he goes on to mention the Resistance Chicks article and the calling us racists, and I felt like that was kind of neat. And then so I wanted to give you a little taste of this article. Together the left and right can kill the establishment propaganda machine. And I think this might have been one of the articles. They call the right like brown as in fascists, like they're not even a color. They're brown
It's
or
very
something.
strange to me. It's very childish.
She says, "I was a little disappointed and more than a little hurt to see that the excellent lefty outlet Counterpunch has published not one but two highly personal attacks editorials about me this week. But she has received a stunning amount of support." And she says that, you know, she's not working with neo-Nazis, right? And Julian
Yes, she
Assange...
is. She's working with us, and we're kind of neo-Nazis.
Julian Assange actually tweeted out her article. This is quite good. How to Fight the Establishment Propaganda Machine and Win. It's so funny. She goes, "This is not a difficult concept for anyone who wants to save the world more than they want to be a sanctimonious vanity politics left puncher. All we're talking about here is numbers." And he talks about working together. She talks about working together with the right and the left. You know, she's like, when you are really grouped that we could be at the brink of nuclear war, World War III with Russia and its allies, it brings a certain clarity and focus to your worldview. When you look around your neighborhood and think about it all disappearing in fire and screams, suddenly the idea of teaming up with the right to kill the propaganda machine that brought us here doesn't seem so quite scary, does it? And when we talk about, you know, bringing out CNN and all the different, you know, crazy things, and she says, she brought this meme up. She goes, when it comes to working with Trumpsters, I grab a vine and I just run with it. And she goes, it's fun. Freely surfing. The new media without shame. She goes, she might even tag Pasovic and Cernovich if she's feeling especially naughty. She goes, am I still going to tag this article hashtag CNN Dirt when I post it? And even though it's being used by Trumpsters, you bet your sweet commie rear end I am, snowflake. I love it. She's just hilarious. Everything she says is so funny. She says, in practice, writing the... Thought Mom might pick it up. Maybe we should just keep the phone with... In practice, writing the constantly fluctuating spirit of the times in each moment feels kind of like I imagine Tarzan experience as he swings from vine to vine across the jungle canopy before swooping me up and carrying him in his big, powerful arms. It's really funny. She's just hilarious when she just writes.
She is really funny.
So, listen... Read some of Caitlyn's articles, you guys. She's awesome. You're going to love her. She goes, I interact with Trumpsters a lot online, which is why I feel confident collaborating with them in the media war. I know which ones are workable and which ones aren't. You know, and you have to do that too. Like with people on the left, you'll know which ones are workable and which ones aren't. And I've noticed that there are some people who have stayed on our Facebook page, people who have left our Facebook page, and people who are hanging on by a hangnail.
Right.
Because it's just so hard for them when I mention the word socialist.
Right.
And you know what? At that point, I just let those people like get together in a little group. Like when
It's really hilarious because thanks to Caitlyn, we have all of these progressive people that have pretty much hijacked Resistance Chicks Facebook page. What's funny about it is that we post a lot of things that they don't agree with at all, like most of the things.
Well, it's two different parts of your brain. I've noticed that the Johnstone people are the Facebook article reading people.
Right.
And y'all are the YouTube people. You're not on Facebook.
Right. So we'll post an article or a video of our own. They don't even watch it. They don't even read, you know what I mean? Well, they will actually read the articles, but like videos
They'll
and stuff
just
like that.
read our intro, but they don't watch it to flesh it out.
Exactly. So we just, a lot of times I just let go. I don't even, they write all these comments and think Leah and Michelle read them. Every once in a while I will go in and read a couple of comments, but it gets so crazy that I choose to just let it go. I'm not going to get caught up in this kind of debate because I'm like, listen, you guys are here on our Facebook page because you want to unite to take down the deep state. On this specific issue, I don't need to argue you. I don't need to convince you. I'm going to post it because it's my Facebook page.
I'm going to bring you videos on Venezuela and how socialism doesn't work. Okay?
That's who we
but
are.
if you want to get on my Facebook page and write a 50 million comments back and forth to each other on how you think socialism works, have at it.
You know
It's
what?
like
We're
having
a
your
safe
neighbors
haven for you
over
guys.
for a barbecue, letting them swim in your pool.
Right.
Go ahead, swim for
So
a little
I want to
bit.
quote
I
from
don't
something,
care.
and I'm going to leave this in the description. There is a person who remains anonymous, Economic Democracy Now, who knows Victor. He's actually, he or she, I'm not even sure, is found my phone number online and texted me the first time Caitlin wrote the article about us. Do you know that Caitlin Johnstone wrote this article about you? And they have a lot, he and Victor have a lot of great ideas for collaborating. They really want to create a movement to make this happen.
They're really good guys, yeah.
And he wrote something that I felt was really pertinent, but one of the things that he says, he talks about receiving information regardless of who it comes from. The source of the information could be the devil. This is supposed to bring to mind something worse than Russia, though MSM and Deep State are working to overtime to convince us Satan ain't as bad as those evil Ruskies. And if the devil has information that's relevant and the American voters would benefit from knowing about a candidate, then that is not only not a bad act, it's a patriotic act to make such information available to the American people. American voters and democracy benefit from information about candidates and not just when it comes out of WikiLeaks. I'm going to put the entire thing that he wrote there because it was really good in the description so that you guys can get those words for yourself. But there is a movement that is happening. We are going to join the right and the left to take down the deep state, and you can choose whether you want to be a part of that and put your party lines on hold for a second or not.
Jake Tapper even tweeted out how shameful Caitlin's thing is. You know when you got Tappy Baby against you and
Exactly.
The View, then what she did was she hit a nerve.
Yes.
And she hit the nerve because John McCain is not a good man. He's not a war hero. Trump had it right when he said he was, and I know it's going to make some people upset, he was a coward who he actually sold out his people while he was over there. And we have seen he is a coward because cowards hook up with terrorists. Yes. He is a terrorist. He is more of a Muslim Islamic extremist than the ones who are blowing up buildings in Manchester.
Because he can tear down entire countries, whereas the people blowing up buildings in Manchester
So if somebody had
only blow up
tweeted
a
out
building.
about the Manchester bomber, please just effing die already, we would hear, it would be crickets. No one would care.
Right.
No one would care. They would understand it.
Even though he was already dead, but I know what you mean.
Everyone goes along with the Syrian narrative,
Right.
the warmongering narrative. The View goes along with the narrative. It's all a very satanic death cult. And so the hypocrisy for them to say anything about Caitlin saying, listen, this guy, he should have been in the death chair.
Right.
And I don't say that lightly.
Yeah.
I say it because we know for a fact he has caused the death of more than Charles Manson. More than Jack the Ripper.
Right.
These are people in history. These neocons are going to go down in history, like Stalin and Hitler.
Yeah.
The people that they have taken in their wake.
And that's what really is unfortunate about.
They are the fascists.
Thank you.
They are the Nazis. John McCain is a fascist Nazi. He might as well have a little badge that says SS.
So for everyone that wants to jump on the bandwagon of calling people like Leah and I fascist, Nazis, racist, whatever, that pin really only does belong to people like that are the neocons, like the George Bushes, like the John McCains, like the Paul Ryans. That is who that pin is supposed to be put on.
At the people who, like the little German people who supported Hitler, but they didn't ever kill anybody.
Right.
And then when they finally found out that these gas, because they took the German people into the gas chambers, when they found out, they came out crying.
Leah and I don't know about you, but I was too young to vote for George Bush.
Right.
And so I didn't, but I supported him even in my young self.
We set up praying that he would win. Now, I am kind of glad that he won over war, just because, like, for my own mindset. But however, I don't think anything would have been any different.
It would have
the
just
wars
been,
would have all happened.
The right-left divide is run by the same machine.
Right.
The crony capitalists and the corrupt leftists, they are all this. It's the same person. And so when you want to pick sides, really, you can't. It's going to be bad no matter what. And so that's why so many people from the left chose to vote for Donald Trump. We didn't. Let's keep that in mind. They did because they were sick of the corruption, and they realized that Trump may have a crony capitalist kind of mindset. However, it's not tainted by the corrupt government system. So you've got the crony capitalists that are in the government and the corrupt leftists that are in the government, and Trump comes from the outside, and that's why everybody was like, you know what, we need somebody outside of the corruption of the government. We didn't vote for him. Keep that in mind. I can hammer it all day long. However, we're going to support the people that supported him because they want a change.
Dude, I'm supporting the president as long as CNN, the whole deep state, hates him. I love the man.
If those women on The View hate Trump, then we are going to support him. When they start to back and support Trump, we will probably stop.
Exactly.
All right, we love you guys. It's Lee Michelle signing off for Resistance
They
Chicks.
supported bombing Syria.
Exactly, and we were anti him bombing Syria. You interrupted me, man. She does that. We do it to each other. It's not just a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, VidMe, Isaiah 58 Ministry Blogger. We go live every Friday at 6 Eastern Standard Time on the Mass Faith 3 channel. We love you guys. God loves you. God bless.
Caitlin, don't second guess yourself.
Don't.
Keep being yourself. We're collaborating with you. We don't agree with everything you say. I'm sure we actually agree more with you than you do with us. Because you don't cover the vast range of topics that we cover.
Right.
And I understand that the lefties are not going to get a lot of what we say.
Sure.
But there's a lot of corruption that we point out together. So keep doing your thing, girl. You're
in the ring, taking the punches, and we're there to squirt the water bottle in your face and pat you on the back and wipe your brow.
Go ahead, do it.